Is Ohio's housing market in the biggest bubble yet? Well, today on the Housing Nerd, that's what we're going to attempt to answer. And stay tuned to the end of this video because we're going to talk about what you need to do as a buyer, seller, or investor in real estate if you happen to live or move to Ohio, the Buckeye state. All right, let's get started. Before we do, though, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Jason Ferrier. I'm a realtor. I'm an investor just outside of Columbus, Ohio. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you watching this video. Like it if you get value. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Share the video. Someone may get some value out of it beyond you. And comment. I want to know what's happening to home values in your local Ohio neighborhood. All right, let's get going. Okay, to find out if we're in a housing bubble here in Ohio or not, I'm going to look at 3 different data sets. And the data is provided by Realtor.com, Zillow, and Resi Club Analytics. The links are in my description below. So first thing we're going to look at are home prices. How is Ohio doing compared to the rest of the nation with home value growth? And how are the individual counties doing in Ohio versus last year and versus 5 years ago before the pandemic? We're also going to look at inventory. How is inventory trending? Because inventory, folks, drives prices. And the last thing we're going to look at is days on market. How long is it taking to sell a home right now in Ohio versus last year and versus 5 years ago? So those are the 3 things we're going to look at. Then we'll dive into what you need to do if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. All right, let's get going. All right, so I want you to keep this in mind that nationally, when it comes to home prices, according to Zillow, the U.S. is up year over year when you look at 2024, November of 24 versus November of 2023. Total U.S. home price growth is around 2.34%. So we know that. So that's a kind of a comparison based on what we're going to see county by county here in Ohio. So let's start with the largest counties. That's what I want to look at, where the most population is. That's going to tell us the story about overall home prices in Ohio, I think. And obviously, real estate's hyper local. So we have 88 counties in Ohio. You definitely want to get with a local realtor to analyze your local subdivision, school system, what have you. But this will give you a good blueprint of the overall state performance. All right. So when it comes to prices, let's start with Franklin County. So Franklin County is where Columbus is, the capital of Ohio, and I live near Columbus, about 30 miles from Columbus. So Franklin County, Ohio, 1-year change in home values, 3.4%. So homes year over year in Franklin County overall have increased 3.4% in value. 5-year change. Look at that 5-year change. That's the other important metric you want to look at when it comes to prices. 52.7%, meaning before the pandemic, if you compare that to now in Franklin County, home values are up 52.7%. Pretty startling, right? I mean, that's not abnormal. If you look at the US is up about 45% in home values overall, according to Zillow. So Columbus has definitely trended higher than the national averages, no doubt about it. So that's the number 1 most populous county in Ohio. Number 2 is Cuyahoga County, Ohio. That's up near, that's actually where Cleveland, Ohio is. So that's number 2 when it comes to size in Ohio of counties with people. You've got a 1-year change. Cleveland's gone insane. 6.4% this year in home value change. 5-year change, 50% growth in 5 years, folks, before the pandemic. Just nuts, right? So let's do the next county. That's Hamilton County, and that is where Cincinnati is. So let's do Hamilton County. Hamilton County, 3.9% growth, similar to Columbus. 5-year change, 50% growth. Less than, obviously, the Cleveland and Cincinnati have less home price growth than in the last 5 years than Columbus has had. But Cleveland looks like they're taking the number 1 spot at 6 and something percent. Hamilton County, which is Cincinnati, up 3.9%. So you got Columbus, Cleveland, and Cincinnati all up a good amount, all up higher than the national average. And the national average, again, 2.3%, according to Zillow. So definitely huge price gains in the three major cities in Ohio. But let's keep going. So the next on my list would be Summit County, Ohio. Okay, so Summit County, Ohio, which is the Akron area, that's up 5.5% year over year in home values. Pretty good growth. Look at the 5-year change, 47.6%. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, next one on the list is Montgomery County, Ohio. That's a 1-year change up 5.6%. And Montgomery County is the Dayton area. A 5-year change up 54.6%. 54.6%. These price gains are just off the hook in Ohio. Just they continue to surprise me month after month. All right, next up on the list is Lucas County, Ohio, which is Toledo, Ohio. That's where Toledo is, up north. 1-year change 5.2%, 5-year change 49.5%. In both cases, in all these cases, all these counties so far, folks, the home price growth has exceeded national averages. So Ohio is trending higher. It just is. And no county in Ohio, there isn't one county in Ohio that's actually dropped year over year, 2, 3, 4, or 5 years in home prices. But there are counties and locations throughout the U.S. that have experienced home price decline, but not here in Ohio. Okay, next is Butler County, Ohio, which is just northwest of Cincinnati, kind of near Dayton as well. 1-year change in home values up 5%, 5-year change 52.7% increase in home values in the last 5 years. Next on the list is Stark County, Ohio. That's where Canton, Ohio is, the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's kind of famous for that. 1-year change in home values up 6%. Okay, that's a little higher than some of those other counties. 5-year change in home values, 48.5%. Okay, now we're going to skip down to Central Ohio. That's where I live, and I'm very familiar with Central Ohio. It's also where Columbus is, the capital, and it's also home to the new Intel project. So I want to highlight Central Ohio. So Licking County, Ohio. I actually live in Licking County. 1-year change in home values, 3.6%. 5-year change, 56.3% in Licking County. A lot of people think this growth is because of the Intel project. Intel's building a gigafactory. Well, it was a gigafactory. Now it's kind of a mini gigafactory, I guess. They've cut the size in half because of Intel's financial performance over the last few years and their blunders. But nevertheless, we are experiencing massive home price growth here in Licking County. But if you look at it, this is actually one of the lower ones, 3.6%, compared to some of the other counties in Ohio that we've looked at. We're going to look at this further when it comes to inventory. Knox County, Ohio is the next one. You can see 1-year price change, 6.2% increase in values, 5-year change in home values, 57.3% in Knox County. That's where Mount Vernon, Ohio is. Home prices there have just gone parabolic. Next up is Delaware County, Ohio, which is just north of Franklin County, north of Columbus, Ohio. This is one of the more wealthy counties, a lot more expensive home values here than many other areas in Ohio. 1-year change in home values, 3.4% increase. Look at that 5-year change, 46.2, lower than Licking County, lower than many of the other counties in Ohio from a 5-year standpoint. But make no mistake, prices there are still going up. Next up is Fairfield County, Ohio. That's just kind of southeast of Columbus. 1-year change in home values, 4.5%. 5-year change, 55.7% in Fairfield, Ohio, County, Ohio. Just, completely parabolic. Doesn't look like it really wants to stop at all. If the next county, though, is even more insane, Perry County, Ohio, which is one of the major landmarks there is Buckeye Lake. That 1-year home value change, 4.5% increase. Look at that 5-year change. This may be one of the highest in Ohio, 66.1% increase in home values in Perry County. Just unreal. One of the other ones we're going to do real quick, Muskingham County, Ohio, 6.8% increase year over year, 56.4% increase in the last 5 years. Okay, so that was home prices. Obviously, doesn't look like home prices are softening in any county I can see as far as anything emergency or any big bubble that's bursting right now. But there's no doubt that home prices have just gone insane in most of the counties in Ohio. Now we're going to look at inventory, because active inventory, the supply of homes, is what drives prices, folks. More supply equals softer home prices, less supply equals higher home prices. You want to know why prices have increased 46, 56, 66%? If you're in Perry County, 66%, because supply went in the basement during the pandemic. And I'm going to show you that right now. So this map is the 1-year change in active housing units for sale between November 23 and November 24. The last map we looked at was prices, and this is inventory. So the two real key metrics you want to pay attention to when it comes to inventory is you want to look at 1-year change in inventory to see what's happening over the last year and the amount of houses for sale. And you want to look at the last 5 years. So what has happened compare now to pre-pandemic? Do we have more inventory in some of these counties or less inventory? If we have more inventory, we could be headed for a situation where prices may start to soften. If we have less inventory, probably aren't going to see any softening yet, and definitely no outright declines. So let's go to the counties right now. Just like we did with prices, we're going to start with the biggest counties first, where the most people live. All right, Franklin County, Ohio, where Columbus is. Again, this is inventory now, not prices. In inventory, the shift between November 23 and November 24, we now in Franklin County have 32.4% more homes for sale. That's good if you're a buyer, because you want you want more choices out there. You want sellers to have some type of competition. All right, now look at the inventory information below that in that white box. The data goes all the way back to 2016, but look at 2019 as kind of a litmus test. 2019, the shift of inventory, we had 2,240 houses for sale in 2019. Now we actually have 2,079 houses for sale. So we still have less inventory than we did pre-pandemic. And if you look back to 2016, you can see we had 2,500 houses for sale. That looks like the 8-year high back in 2016, but inventory started to drop way before the pandemic in Franklin County. You can see 2,500 houses in 2016, 2017, 2,100 houses. Then we went up to 2,400, but then down to 2,200. And then during the pandemic, 1,300. And we hit a cycle low of 1,200 houses for sale. We've definitely built some inventory, but we definitely need more if we're going to see some price softening overall in Franklin County. You got to have more inventory. All right, next up on the list is Cleveland, Ohio, or Cuyahoga County, Ohio. Shift between November 23 and November 24, inventory there is only up 6%. That's it, 6% in the year. Hardly any gains at all in Cleveland. Cleveland's hurting when it comes to inventory, no doubt about it. Now, look back historically. Look back at 2019, 3,600 houses for sale in 2019. Now, 2,100 houses for sale. So there's actually a lot less inventory right now in Cleveland than there was back in 2019. And look at the 8 years. Back in 2016, we had 4,500 homes for sale. Now 2,100. This is actually right now near an 8-year low. I mean, last year we had 2,027 homes. I guess 2021, 1,900 homes. So there were some years where it was less, but I mean, we're still in the basement with inventory in Cleveland. That's going to keep prices sticky, probably continuing to increase. Okay, next is Cincinnati area, Hamilton County, Ohio. Again, this is inventory up 30% year over year. That's good. Need some more inventory. But look down historically. 2024, we have 1,442 homes, active homes for sale. Look in 2019, we had 1,900. So we're still under pre-pandemic levels. And, back, it looks like, what's the 8-year high? 2016, a lot of the other counties in Ohio. In 2016, we had 2,600 homes, almost 2,700 homes for sale. So we hit a cycle low of 933 homes in November of 2022. So there's no doubt that inventory in Ohio, you can see it has been dwindling, at least in these counties so far. It's been dwindling since 2016. It wasn't just the pandemic. We were on a path downwards overall, even before the pandemic hit. So definitely as the pandemic took hold and, sellers stayed home and didn't list their homes for sale because of the lock-in effect, you can see what happened. Back in 2021, we had 955 homes for sale. 2022, 933 homes for sale in Cincinnati. So again, need more inventory to see some type of price decline. Next up, Summit County, Ohio. That is up 32% year over year. Look at November of 2024, 959 homes for sale. Look at 2019, 1,493 homes for sale. Not even close to back to pre-pandemic levels. Not even close. And look at those numbers. Like they started at 2,100 in 2016, like a lot of these other counties in Ohio had a higher or the highest number of homes for sale back in 2016. Then it dropped to 1,800, 1,500, 1,400, 750, 701 was the cycle low in 2021. Only 701 homes for sale in Summit County. Just crazy. Next is Montgomery County, Ohio, or Dayton, Ohio, near Cincinnati. Inventory 2024, 899, 2023, 845. So they actually have more than we had last year. Only a growth of 6.4% though. Barely at all. Barely more inventory than we had last year. Basically stagnant. Look at November of 2019, 1,200 homes for sale. Still not back to pre-pandemic inventory levels. Cycle low looks like it was 2021, right? It's 609 homes for sale. Look at November 2016, 2,200 homes for sale. And prices were going up, by the way, before the pandemic here in Ohio. They were still going up. So we just need a ton of inventory here in Ohio, a lot of inventory to crash prices. I hope you're seeing that by now, the correlation between inventory and prices. Okay, Lucas County, Ohio, which is Toledo, up 0% year over year in inventory. Basically no inventory growth at all this year. When I say this year, I mean 2024 compared to 2023, excuse me. So back in November of 2024, 624 homes for sale. Last year at this time, 624 homes for sale, no growth. Look at 2016, had 1,700 homes for sale in Toledo. So a lot less than 2016, and pre-pandemic 2019 had 1,200 homes for sale. So far from the number of homes needed in Toledo to probably move prices down with any significance at all. Okay, so now we're going to go back to Central Ohio like we did with prices and take a look at the Central Ohio area, and that includes where Intel is being constructed. So Licking County, Ohio, home of the Intel plant. It's not Franklin County, it's Licking County. 26% growth in home and inventory. 26% growth in inventory in Licking County year over year. You can see some of these numbers. If you go back to 2019, you can see we had 394 homes for sale in Licking County in 2019. Now we have 382. So we have less homes for sale, but it's getting close to pre-pandemic levels. But look at the cycle lows, 149 homes in 2020. Look at 2021, 168 homes. Look back in 2016, 517 homes. Now, to give you a perspective, they say there's going to be like 20,000 plus workers coming into the Licking County area for this Intel plant. So when you only have 300 and some homes for sale, it's hard to build the supply you need to actually make prices stabilize or come down. looks like prices will continue to go up unless we have a massive explosion in inventory. Unless we do. Right now, we're not seeing that. So need a lot more new homes or need some kind of cataclysmic financial event to, you know, bring prices down or increase inventory. It's just how it is, folks. All right, now let's look at Knox County. Knox County is another area that's very close to the Intel plant. Look at the inventory, 28% growth year over year. Look at November 2024, 128 homes. November 2019, 138 homes. So again, like Licking County, not a whole lot of supply overall. You're talking 128 homes, 138 homes. Look at back in 2016, had 256 homes. So just like these other counties, Knox County is seeing a continual decline in inventory. It's not just the pandemic and here in Ohio. It's been declining for a while. All right, now let's look at Fairfield County, Ohio. 457 homes in 2016. Excuse me, let's look at 2024. 2024, 266 homes. 2023, 203 homes. Definitely more growth, 31% growth year over year in inventory. But look, in November of 2019, 348 homes. So we still have a lot less in Fairfield County than we did pre-pandemic. All right. So one more county here to look at when it comes to inventory. Delaware, Ohio. Delaware County, Ohio. 373 homes this year. 289 homes in 2023. That's a growth of 29%, similar to some of these other areas in inventory growth. But look back in November of 2016 at 683 homes. Now we only have 373 homes. Just no inventory growth, really. Okay, now we're going to look at days on market because this tells us how long homes have been sitting on the market compared to this time last year and this time before the pandemic. So I'm looking at a 5-year change, which is this right here. That's in this column here, and then I'm looking at the 1-year change in this next column. So I don't have this on a map. I only have this in data chart form. Again, you can get this from Lance Lambert at Resi Club if you sub to his newsletter. The link's in my description below. So Franklin County, Ohio. That's the biggest county in Ohio, home of Columbus, Ohio, the capital, and the Ohio State Buckeyes. All right, so 5-year change in days on market, how long it's taking of houses to sell overall. If you look at the U.S. is down from 5 years ago, 7%. So right now it takes 7% less time to sell a home than it did 5 years ago nationally. 1-year change, though, look at this, almost 20% nationally. So nationally, it's taking 20% longer now to sell a home than it did this time last year. So year over year, it's growing, but compared to 5 years ago before the pandemic, houses are actually selling faster overall in the U.S. So having said that, let's look at the county data in Ohio. Franklin County, Ohio, 0% 5 years from 5 years ago. So compared to 2019, same amount of time to sell a house in Ohio, in Franklin County, Ohio. Now, look at November 23 to November 24, a 1-year change. It's taking 28% longer year over year. That makes sense because homes, quite frankly, were selling like as everybody knows, a couple days, right? So Ohio's no different. During the pandemic, it was insanity. Houses go on the market 1 hour, next hour they're in contract. So now 28% longer, flat with days on market versus pre-pandemic. Look at Cleveland, 36% less time to sell a house versus the pre-pandemic time. So right now, homes are actually selling 36% faster, not longer, faster than they were before the pandemic. Look at the year over year change, only 4.5 days. Really, the market, when you look at inventory and you look at prices and you look at days on market, Cleveland is in the worst shape when it comes to any chance of a bubble bursting because inventory isn't growing, days on market's not growing, and prices are still parabolic. Look at Hamilton County, Ohio. That's where Cincinnati is. 16% less time to sell a home versus 5 years ago, 20% longer year over year. That's good. You want to see more days on market if you're hoping for some price decline, but it's still 16% faster. Homes are moving 16% faster than pre-pandemic. Summit County, Ohio, 36% faster home sales than it was before the pandemic, 5% longer year over year. Montgomery County, Ohio, which is Dayton, 15.69% or 16% if you're rounding up, I suppose. It's taking less time, 16% less time to sell a home in Montgomery County, Ohio versus 5 years ago, 13% longer year over year. I want to scroll down, though, to one that caught my eye. So look at this. Look at Licking County. This one is an outlier, and this may be a source of some price softening coming up. Licking County, Ohio, 11% longer to sell a home versus pre-pandemic. Also, 11% longer versus last year. So homes in general are sitting longer than they were 5 years ago and last year in Licking County. Let's stay on that theme of Central Ohio. Let's look at Fairfield County, only down 6%. So if you go back up to like Cuyahoga County, down 36% days on market compared to 5 years ago. You go to Fairfield County, Ohio, and you're only down 6.38%, up 40% year over year. So homes are definitely sitting longer compared to last year in Fairfield County, Ohio. All right, let's do a couple more when it comes to Central Ohio. And okay, so Knox County, Ohio, which is this one here, 16% faster home sales than there were back in 2019. So homes are actually moving faster, 16% faster, 12% year over year growth there as far as how long homes are sitting on the market. There's no doubt that homes are definitely taking longer to sell, like in Knox County and many areas of Ohio, but there are many, except Licking County, are still selling faster now than they were 5 years ago. So when you look at all this data that I presented today, are we actually in a housing bubble in Ohio? Well, when I look at inventory as my key point, my key driver of data, it doesn't appear to me that we are overinflated in home values, even though they've gone up a ton, right? I mean, some of these counties have gone up 66% in 5 years, but it's clear there's still buying demand because inventory hasn't skyrocketed yet. If inventory skyrockets, that could be a concern for the Buckeye State, as it would be for any housing market. So what do you do if you're a buyer, seller, investor in Ohio? How do you act? What things can you look at? Well, look at the same things I looked at today. Track your prices, certainly, but really key in on inventory. You want to look at new listings. You want to look at how fast homes are selling. So look at days on market, and you want to compare those to historical averages. That'll tell you where prices may head. So my advice is to get with a realtor like me and have them pull specific data for you on a specific school district, subdivision, zip code, county, whatever level you want to look at. And the more localized, the better. Whatever county or whatever area you want to look at, have them pull that data for the type of asset class you want to buy. Meaning, if you want to buy duplexes, don't have them pull single family houses. Have them pull duplexes. You want to buy single family houses, 3-bedroom, 1-bath, have them pull those type of assets. And watch that data on a regular basis. If you have a long horizon, like you're like, I'm going to buy in 3 years, 5 years, whatever. If you're going to buy in a long time horizon, maybe look at it once a quarter, maybe look at it every 6 months. If, however, you want to buy in the next year, I would look at this maybe weekly. You could actually look at this weekly and see how it's trending versus historical averages. Your realtor should be able to do that for you, pull that data and give you an analysis. If they can't do that, find a new realtor or have them call me and I'll show them how to do it. It's not that difficult. It's not that complicated, but you need access to the MLS in a lot of situations to do that, the local MLS. You can also do it on Zillow, though. So you don't necessarily need a realtor. You can do it on Zillow, pull a list of properties that you're interested in, track them on a regular basis, see if they've sold or not, see how long it took to sell them. Also, look at how much inventory is in that specific asset class, in that specific neighborhood. And that'll give you an idea of where values may be headed. For instance, Here, where I am in this little micro area of Licking County, I've been working with some first time home buyers. I can tell you that there are homes that have been sitting longer than normal, longer than you would see during the pandemic. They've been sitting longer, probably because their entry price was too high. And now the sellers are lamenting a little bit and they're willing to negotiate. So I am seeing some negotiating room, but houses that are like move in ready in great neighborhoods and are priced right are still moving fast, like 1, 2, 3, 4 days, with a lot of times multiple offers. Just experienced multiple offer situation on a sub $200,000 house here in Licking County, had 3, 4, or 5 bids on it. And so that's definitely something I'm still seeing. So more of the story is get localized, get your data, watch it on a regular basis, and you can figure out, just like I did, where home prices may be headed and if we're in a bubble. All right. I hope this video added some value and gave you some insight. If it did, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. I'm the housing nerd, and I'm out of here.